Welcome back to a new episode of Industry Talk with Brandon Andre. And today we have back Mr. Omar Albertto. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We also have my boys, my first two boys that are signed to my mother agency. We got over here, Jojo.
How are you doing? Name's Jojo.
We got here Mr. Argentina himself.
Sebastian.
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 And Jojo. I love it.
Well, isn't it crazy that I bring you boys that reflect your flavors to the T, right?
You know, it's funny because, you know, as I walked in to this beautiful setting you put together for us, I looked at them and I said, oh, yeah. They're Omar's men 100%. Just by looking at them, and I could feel the flavor. You know, vibes don't lie.
Right.
You know, vibes don't lie. You feel a vibe. You're like, so you're on the right track.
Well, you know, the reason why I even selected them, because, like, you know, you've been with me since I kind of embarked on whatever I've been building, whatever someone would call all of what I'm doing on social media. But I wasn't sure if I was ever going to do mother agenting, and, you know, for me, and I think you know this as well, finding people to work with is very important. The type of ethic that they have to have is very, very important to me, because and you're like this too, if I tell you to do something, don't question it, do it, because I know what's best for you. And it's very hard to find people that have that mindset. And these two guys had that mindset. You know, like, I found him on social media from him submitting to my worldwide model search. He sent me his pictures, sent me like selfies pictures, and he used to have like a gnarly mustache too. And I was like, look,
oh my God,
I'm coming to Miami, meet me in Miami, because I'm going to be there. I can take your digitals. Like, this is going to be your chance. Like, I don't know what I can do with you, but I think you have a look and I believe in you. He shaved off his face, did a video, sent that to me, and then booked digital sessions with me in Miami and booked a test shoot session with me in Miami. Bro flew out to Miami to meet me for the Miami model mixer, digitals, and the test shoot. And that in itself. And for the test shoot, like, I specifically was like, he went to the mall to go get clothes at Zara, and I was guiding him throughout the entire experience. I'm like, get this, get that. No, return that, get these shoes, get that. Boom, boom. Listen to every single detail. And I was like, okay, this, I can work with this.
That's a rare one. Yeah,
yes,
that's a
I
rare
can work
one.
with this, because he's not fighting me back. He's trusting in me and stuff. And he had every reason to be skeptical. Him as well. He decided to book my model digitals. And again, at that time, I wasn't even thinking about mother agenting, but the tenacity that they both had, because then from there, well, with a scouting video thing. Well, you guys know, everyone who knows, it's the scouting video concept is like, you know, entertainment. So we did the scouting video at the mall. That's when I realized, I'm like, okay, like, I have these two guys and I know that they have the face and they have a look. And do I want this to be the time to do? And the other thing too is they're both computer science engineers or something like that. Engineers?
Computer science, yeah.
Computer science majors. So they have,
Yes.
imagine that.
Okay,
Yeah.
got a brain. Whoa.
And they're the same age, right?
Yeah.
The other
How
thing
old
is,
are you guys?
21.
21. Unbelievable.
the other thing too is, like, I wanted to sign them at the same time, because I also know males, and I'm like, it's going to be easier for them to do this together at the same time than if they were doing it separate, because they can lean on each other to, like, encourage one another through this process. So I sent them both the contracts and was waiting for both of them to come on board, and then eventually signed them after they got together. And then day one was us getting on Zoom, putting them on a social media marketing plan, because I'm building them as a brand, teaching them how to, like, talk in front of the camera. And so they were on a 30-day selfie video challenge on Instagram, where they had to post every single day for 30 days.
Oh my God.
They had to talk to the camera, and then different weeks there were like different challenges, like, okay, now post a full body fit picture of yourself or a video of yourself,
Right.
or post something that's going to elicit a reaction, say something controversial, say something that's going to make people react to your videos.
Sure.
And they went through that training to prepare for this 1 week of development, where they're going to come out here to LA to basically build a high level quality portfolio, so that we can then position them for New York. But the reason why it's worked out thus far is because they've listened to me every step of the way, and that's rare. And that's why I'm like, I don't know that I'll be able to even find this ever again. Yeah. But that's on top of their look, and, like, they got the look, that's cool. But do they have the discipline, the ethic? And they've proven to me that they have. And so I knew that you would appreciate not only their look, but that aspect of them.
Sure.
You know?
One thing that, from everything you just said, that comes to mind, can we find a new word for portfolio? Is that a possibility?
What would be a good word for portfolio?
Because, I mean, if you really think about it and we break it down and someone says, I'm working on my portfolio.
Brand, I guess, would be
There
branding.
is no portfolio anymore. No one prints a
Right.
photograph anymore. Your portfolio is Instagram.
Right.
Unless there's something that happened in the past 24 hours that I'm not
Or I
aware
guess it would
of.
really be, I'm building my image. They came out to build their image. You know, because their image is what's going to brand them. The other thing too is that I had them study you. Okay, like it wasn't just like I didn't just tell them like we're going to do this interview with Omar. I'm like, you're going to watch, because I also told them they have to watch every podcast that I've done so far, and I was like, you better watch Omar's and Craig's podcast. You need to know who Omar is. You need to Google him. You need to research him. You need to know everything about him. And they did, and they've learned so much about you from that podcast and from everything.
You know, it's funny because I thought about this yesterday, and I said, you know, as of yesterday, you and Greg in New York, Chang, you guys are amazing. You're amazing because you say so much of what I can't say. Because I have to, I gather, keep some kind of political correctness into my brand, into my life.
Right.
But you guys just paint it the way it is. And I love that. And I love how you guys have respect for the legacies, for the ones that came before, which I believe if more of today's young talent paid attention to the ones that did it before you, why were they that successful? Granted, it's a different business in terms of the photography aspect of it, because, you know, most masters are not as relevant as they were 20 years ago. But there are still photographers out there that create incredible images. And I believe that if you study some of the greatest models in the world, look at their body of work, and you go, wow, I can see now why he's a great model. It's not always like because he's the best looking guy.
Yeah.
It's just because the performance that he gave when he worked with a certain master or with a certain photographer. There's nothing to me more beautiful and powerful than you having a camaraderie with your shooter.
Yeah.
Because then it becomes a collaboration. I give you, you give me. And then it gets to a point that like, let's just do this. And then you create a beautiful piece of art. Some of the greatest models that I've represented throughout my career are some of the greatest silent actors I ever had the pleasure to witness because of their body of work. And I would get so excited when I booked them on certain assignments with certain masters. I just couldn't wait for those 3 or 4 months to go by so I could see the billboard or the campaign or the editorial in the magazines, because that was, to me, was like going to a movie. I love movies, but I love print media. I love print media, fashion print media. I have an incredible nostalgia towards fashion print media.
So today too, what I wanted to talk about, especially for everyone that's watching, is, you know, you bring so much history and legacy to the table when it comes to modeling and male models. And I think the reason why this is such a beautiful opportunity for the world to kind of see the insight of what it looks like to develop the making of a top model, you know, from me, who's like a millennial, and they're Gen Z, and, you know, you bring in so much experience, so much history, and mirroring the legacy way and the approach of how modeling used to be, and me bringing in the new approach with them being the future. It's such a cool opportunity for us to learn from you on, hey, what is the way to make a top model nowadays? Now knowing everything, because, you know, this is 3 years, I think 3 or 2 years since we last had our podcast. You know, we've both grown and learned social media and seen the changes. And now today is an opportunity to talk about, okay, what is the way forward? As well as acknowledging the past, which is what I told them. We were talking yesterday on the way to Malibu, and I was giving them history. It's like, you guys need to understand history. And I was telling them, you need to know all these people, because in this industry, it's very important to pay your respect and credit to those who paved the way forward for you. But talking about what's the path forward for models nowadays, specifically for them and their situation, and then also remembering the importance of what came before you so that you understand how to actually carve the path ahead so much more effectively. And that's why it's a cool opportunity to talk to you.
You know, you hit an important point there, legacy and knowing about the past. It is something really beautiful to do print research. Look at some of the old magazines, look at the performances of some of these male models, and see how you could recreate those in today's world, in today's technology, world of technology, I think that's a lot of power. One of the things advices that I would give you, number one, have respect for everyone, from the assistants. Know their names, because assistants become photographers, their future clients. The people who are doing all the production, those people, believe it or not, those are your PR department, because they're going to speak about you when you're not around. Like, hey man, I just work with this kid. Like they'll be in a meeting and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to do a casting. And they're like, hey, I just work with this kid from Argentina, Sebastian, and God, he's so great. You would love him. Or, oh, I just met Jojo. Wow, what a great kid. He's from Ghana. He has remember everyone's name. Mm-hmm. I find it extremely disrespectful when a model goes to work and you say, oh, who'd you work with? Oh, this chick, I don't remember her name. You don't remember who gave you money? How disrespectful. They just paid your rent and you don't remember their name? Know everybody's name. Be respectful. Don't be a prima donna. Prima donnas could just get away with it so long. Most prima donnas I know, especially male models, they haven't turned out well, 20 years later. Because a lot of them I used to represent. And they call me at times and, hey, homie, I'm thinking of making a comeback. I'm like, oh, bro, that boat left you 20 years ago. You are not the nicest human 20 years ago. And now it's a wrap. So, yeah, respect, I think, is a big, big thing. Be respectful to everyone. And just remember, it's a performance. Mm-hmm. It's a performance. And what separates you from the other guy? Why should I choose you or you over him? So get your ego. Leave your ego at the door. I'm not a fan of people with egos. And I always use myself as the example. I was a runway model. I did very, very little print when I was a male model. I did more print as a model agent than as a model. And I remember when I was a model, when I used to do runway, obviously every model wants to get the catalog job, the advertising job, the campaigns. Right. I wasn't getting them. And then it hit me. I had to check myself. I had to check my ego and say, Omar, you don't look like him. I mean, look at this guy here right next to me. I mean, I don't have to be attractive to a man to be able to look at this man and say, this is a beautiful man. You guys got beautiful faces. I didn't have a beautiful face. I don't have a beautiful face. I'm interesting. That's it. And interesting in my days is called editorial, which I wish people could use that word more often now when you don't want to sign somebody. You could just say, like, oh, your look is too editorial. That was our way of saying, like, you're not right for us. Oh, you're too editorial. It's not what we're looking for right now. But that's something very important to check your ego. Mm. I checked my ego real quick, and I said, I don't look like Marion Wombold. Those are some of the guys that were working during my time as a model, or Calvin French, or Jose Kendall, Renald White, Charles Williams, Mario Van Peebles. I mean, God, those guys are beautiful. That wasn't me. I'm not going to get those jobs. So, divine intervention, I ended up being an agent. I love it. I love the transition. But I check my ego. So, check your ego.
Or I'll check it for you guys, because I'll be definitely checking their ego for them. That's for sure.
I never enjoyed when models say, like, well, how come he's working and I'm not?
Yeah. Well, I told them that in the beginning, too. I was like, look, you guys are going to be doing this together, but what I don't want you guys to do is compare your guys' modeling experience to each other, because you guys both have different paths. Yeah. You're going to have different experiences. One of you might work a season more than the other. And I'm trying to, even with them, because they're staying at an Airbnb together. So like, I'm even just trying to build camaraderie, because I guess what's happening here with them too is repainting what modeling even is supposed to look like, because I think what's cool, and even what we were talking earlier off camera about, like, this could be a show that Netflix decides to like feature, and is the idea of like modeling being beyond just like fashion, kind of like what people have seen it in the past. But hey, like at least for guys, it's like it could be like this fun experience, like this side quest of life, and it doesn't have to be this daunting experience where a lot of, especially straight guys, think like, oh, this is just gay. I don't want to have anything to do with it. But it's like, how about it's just cool because it's this thing that like you could gain a brother, for instance.
Well, you know, I think one of the things I'd love to see be back, which I don't know if we can achieve it in the industry, is to make modeling aspirational.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly.
I would love modeling to be aspirational, where you looked at the magazines or you look at the campaigns and you're like, wow, I like that look, or I want to wear that outfit because it inspired me to look like that. I see this guy's body. Okay, I want to get my body right like that guy. Things of that nature. Make it aspirational, because that's when I came in the industry. Yeah. It was all about aspirational.
Yeah, and I think that's what's cool about them is that like there's a real shot at making that happen because, like I said, repainting what modeling is supposed to look like for the next generation, because it could be something that not only they could, because we were even talking earlier about like aesthetic, like they got to build their aesthetic of what makes a top model. Top model nowadays is like, okay, the missing element is like you got to learn how to dress. You can't just be this person that walks in and then they dress you. You got to on your own when you're going to get coffee, when you're hanging out with friends, when you're doing whatever. You already got to look like a top model everywhere you go. Otherwise, what's the point? But doing it in a way, especially as a male, that invites other guys to be like, yo, I love your style. You look fresh. Yeah. Instead of pushing guys away because they think, oh, that's gay or that's too feminine or that's this. Like inviting guys to participate in learning. Like, yo, instead of like, we're so confident and comfortable in who we are, how about you sit with us so we can teach you and give you that power so you have that to you and you can be a part of looking cool and aesthetic and make it something that's more masculine as opposed to something that's, you know, been presented, especially modern days, like as something that's, at least for a lot of males that aren't living in LA or living in New York, is something that's too feminine for them to associate with and stuff. But I think there's a chance here with them and with what we're doing to really showcase an aspirational perspective of modeling and get back to the basics of that, you know?
I think it's important to have a sense of style is definitely important. You don't have to follow no trend. You just got to create your own that you're comfortable with, but comfortable to a point where it is still cool and not like, well, this is what I'm all about. Take it or leave it. Sometimes it's like, no, dude, that doesn't go. Like, be open-minded. Always be open-minded. 50% of the things you're gonna wear as a male model are things that you wouldn't even think of wearing. But when you're wearing it, doing a shoot, doing a job, you gotta own it. So always be open-minded. Have an open mind. Don't shut it off. Because at the end of the day, think about it. I'm gonna give you a trick that I do. Everything is moments. You're 21 years old, right?
Right.
You do a job for one day. You're going to tell me that one day is going to ruin 20 years? Like, I put everything into numbers like that. Like, okay, I'm uncomfortable for 20 minutes. Oh, God, 20 minutes. Learn to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations because at the end of the day, it's just a moment.
Right.
The show goes on. Regardless of what, the show goes on. Sun is going to pop in the morning, may not, it may rain, it may snow, but the show goes on. So you got to keep it moving, keep evolving, but always with an open mind.
Now, I want to give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves to the audience and everyone that's listening. Tell us where you guys are from and how'd you guys find yourselves in modeling?
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. Family is from Ghana. What really made me want to be a model, I've always been told that like you should model, like, you know, you have the look, but I've always thought like people didn't really know like what they were talking about. Like, for example, for basketball, right? You see a tall person, you automatically think, oh, you should play basketball. But if you play and you know basketball, it's a lot more than just being tall. So I always thought because I know I'm slightly more attractive than the average person, then average people would think, oh, you should model. But if I were to go to like an actual casting or get scouted, they would just like shun me away, you know? But what really like, because I saw his video on like him describing the attributes of a model, and I looked myself in the mirror and I'm like, I mean, I have a similar like aesthetic and a similar look. So I decided to send him a video of the Can I Be a Model thing. And he like really convinced me, like, because I trust his judgment, because based on what I've seen, he actually like really develops and is in that sphere of like elite models, because there's a lot of people that want to be models, but you're just taking a picture. You're not really like a model for a, and I didn't want to do that. I don't want to do something that requires a lot of my time and energy and money just to take a bunch of pictures and then say I did modeling. Like, I want to actually do it 100%.
Well, yeah, you want to make a living out of it.
I would like to and my family, I can't, this is not a hobby. Like, I actually want to make this into a career. And he like really put into perspective, like, yo, you could like really do this because you have X, you have this, you just have to do this, this, and that. I'm like, okay, based on what I've seen, like, you can actually help me get to this level. So like, he was really like the catalyst on what propelled me, okay, I'm not being delusional. Because I never wanted to be delusional. Like, I don't want, like, modeling is one of those things where if you're delusional, it can ruin you. I've heard a bunch of stories of people who just cannot be models, but they spend thousands of dollars on test shoots.
That's ego.
Yeah, and I don't want that. I tried to, like, when I was younger, I had a bit of an ego. But God has a wonderful way of checking you and ruining your ego to where you come down to earth. So I wanted to be where I'm not delusional, like this is an actual path I could take, and Brandon helped like me see that path. So yeah, that's what really made me want to be a model.
Well, I'll tell you one thing he did immediately with you. I can't even picture you with a mustache. I am
I had a gnarly, like, it was like one of those like motorcycle mustaches.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I don't even know how you approach him with that, because me.
Straight up, I was like, you need to shave. That's not.
With me, it's like, that gotta go. That thing under your lip.
At first, I was a little apprehensive because I've always had a mustache. It's like, are you sure? Do I have to shave? I was like, bro, shave. I'm like, it's just a mustache. I'm gonna grow it back. If it's ugly, it's fine. So, but I did it, and I grew into the look, and I actually prefer myself without a mustache.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
it's kind of funny how that works. I've had a mustache for like 20 years.
That's
on the 21st year, I just don't have a mustache anymore.
Well, there's one or two things that I'm gonna add to you, and I'll discuss those things with Brandon. Simple things to even get the look. Man, you know what? I'll tell you right now. What you're gonna do?
All right.
Turn to your side. All right. So you're gonna let your burns grow right here.
Okay.
Let this go all the way. No fade. I love the fact you don't have a fade.
We were in the car, and I was gonna ask you if I should get like a little fade. No fade.
Oh my goodness, guys.
That's so
I'm
crazy how that
sorry, I
works.
get it.
Yeah.
Everyone is doing it. I don't get it.
Okay.
I don't get it. My own son does it. I don't get this whole what do you call fade thing?
Yeah, skin fade, temp fades, all the fades.
Let your burns grow out to right there, because that's your cheekbones.
Yeah.
Right there. So it's gonna really pop your cheekbones.
Okay.
It's gonna pop your jaw.
Okay.
So, and you want to keep that. What number is that right now?
2 guard.
That's a 2. That's fine. You could even go down to a 1.
Okay.
That's fine. It's just giving it more power.
What do you think of his widow speak too?
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me at all. I actually love it.
Really? Because when I was a kid, man,
They used to do the.
Bro, I used to be called McDonald's hairline. I used to be get bullied so bad.
I hate it. That's another one I hate. I hate that. What do you call that?
Lineup,
The liner.
Oh, the little chalk.
Yeah, no, just a whole.
Yeah.
Like
shaving off the widow speak and all
Yeah,
that.
This is
like,
the longest
what?
I've actually ever had my widow speak. I normally shave it off.
Do not cut that. Do
Okay.
not that whole thing, and I don't get that one either. Like shape you unshaping your face. It's not even shaping your face. You unshaping it. It doesn't matter. You got that Beatles haircut. You can do a million things with that hair. Everything is cool. Do not do no fade. Anyway, you live in Miami and you're Argentino. I'm seeing Argentinian kids walking around with fades, so you'll be fine.
Okay, so introduce yourself.
All right, so my name is Sebastian Castro. I'm from Miami. The way I got into modeling, so I guess my entire life, I never really thought I was super attractive. I don't know. Maybe this is like not really common in modeling, but I never thought I was like that attractive. Even then, now with all these shoots that we've done, I'll look at the picture and I'll be like, I don't know if I look like a model in some of these. Like, I don't know why you chose me, but how it started actually, and this is a shout out to my aunt. So she's my godmother. My aunt and my uncle, they would always tell me every time I would go eat dinner with them or breakfast, they'd be like, you should model, you should model, you should be a model. And they have magazines. They have a table, a glass table,
Right.
and they have a bunch of magazines. So they love modeling, they love fashion. But I thought it was like, you know, how your family always tells you, oh, you're so handsome. But I was on TikTok and I looked up how to become a model because they told me again. And so I found Brandon's videos and I saw Brandon's going to be in Miami and said, oh, I live there. So I booked a digital session with Brandon and then everything went from there. So
Very cool. I think you made the right decision.
They've both been like suffering from imposter syndrome, you know, like having come to LA, like basically they don't believe, they still, I mean, I think now they kind of accepted it, but they have not believed that they deserve to be having this opportunity and doing modeling. And I think that's such a fun thing to witness because obviously most of my audience is people that like are delusional and who think that they're going to be models and they feel entitled to free test shoots, to free digitals, to being signed, all that stuff. But they, even after the first shoot that we did on Tuesday, were still like just in disbelief that they could, that this is and they needed, it's funny because I set them up with other photographers outside of myself too, because I wanted them to get different experiences with working with other photographers. But, you know, and you guys feel free to tell me, how was your first day of shooting with me on location?
This guy, he moves like an army like soldier. Like if you do a pose, you're boring me. I need more movements. It was very like do this, do that. But it was like almost I'm grateful for it because you play basketball. Like you've had coaches that are very like, you know, like it was more intense than the actual game.
Sure.
So when the game like is actually commencing, it's easy.
Of course.
So when we did the shoots with the other like photographers, they were like nice. And I was confused. Like, you're not screaming at me? I'm not boring? Like, it was weird. Like, it's cool.
Well, that's because he gave you the basic training.
Yeah, like, it was really, like, you know, like, really sharpened me. So when we went to the other guys, the other photographers, it was, like, easy. Like, all the stuff we were doing, it was, like, free-flowing. I didn't need any direction. It was just, like, boom, 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 and we're done. It was wonderful.
Yeah,
really
with one of the photographers that we shot, it was the first one after Brandon. He came up to change my shirt. He wanted to, like, fix it, and he was like, can I touch you? And I'm like, and then I was getting flashbacks to Brandon being like, fix that shirt, get that shirt ready. I'm like, oh yeah, you can touch me. you can fix that shirt.
So it's funny because like, you know, on the first day, like, you know, obviously in the context that everyone misses too, because, you know, they're right. I'm fully on. I mean, I'm nice about directing, but I'm very blunt. But you know, we're on location. We drove 2.5 hours out on this black sand desert next to the Cinder Cone volcano here in California, where I'm driving 4 guys that are all 20. My assistant friend was 20 years old and they're 21. I styled them. We went to Zara and H&M. Like I fitted them in all these clothes. We fitted them that night before. I did their makeup and hair and like literally in his hair because I just styled his hair. So I did everything, you know, and there's no other agent that you'll find that will do what I did, especially at the level that I do it at. But then on top of that, dealing with the sun, the sun setting, the constant changes of the weather patterns and other people's bowel movement situations.
Oh my God.
So, you know, here I'm like, look, you guys got to get this right. And the other thing too, and this is why I think that it was such a great learning experience for them, is that we weren't just doing photos, we were doing videos. And like I've said in previous videos on TikTok, videos are unforgiving. You don't have the ability to suck in videos. Videos unforgiving in that like you can't mess up. You have to continuously be cool in front of the camera. You have to continuously serve and give on video. But with photos, you can, you know, make mistakes every now and then. And, you know, photographer can choose between the best of the batch. But in video, you don't have that option. So for them to have had that experience, it prepared them to do well. But also, there are photographers that are nicer. Like they have a lot less to worry about when everything is, you know, in a studio and controlled. But that's the cool thing is that, you know, you guys got to hear from other people, because that was what was really cool when I picked them up and was hearing back, like, you know, tell me how the shoot went and stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, tell them what they told you guys.
So the first one actually asked us if we had done any campaigns before. So that was a pretty cool question to get asked.
That was really cool. Like, especially being like, we just started, and he was like, oh, so many campaigns have you booked? I'm like, I don't know. I just started, man.
Done.
Like, all right.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
And then the second one, her name was Perla. Oh, actually, with the first one, we ended up getting burritos with him right after. So that was cool. It was a cool experience to like walk over to a burrito place and chat about literally anything else. It was like we got to know the photographer more personally.
That I think helped them believe you do belong here, and there is a place here for you. And I think that was what's cool though, is like to witness them like processing this experience, you know, because they went on a limb and they're flying. They're 21-year-olds, you know, their families, you know,
you don't have your support system here.
yeah, and it's like no one knows. You know, they don't know what's going to come out of this, and they still decided to come out and take a chance, and it's still a risk because I think even when I picked you up, I picked them up at the airport. Again, things that other agents don't really do. Because I also told them like there will be instances in which I will give you guys the opportunity for me to advance you guys money. But honestly, I don't like debt. So I'd rather you guys pay out of pocket for everything up front. So you're never in debt with me and you're never in debt with your modeling agency. But because I've been blessed with things going really well for my business, I can come out of pocket to cover some expenses for you guys as a business expense for myself, but also just to make it easier for you guys. So I think total, just to get to LA, they spent $500 on their flight and then $200 for their Airbnb. And then I paid like $600 for the Airbnb. I paid for the majority of the cost of their test sheets. Some of the clothes for their digitals, I'm like, look, I'll just give them to you because you guys need them. So they got treated to dinners, you know?
Oh, you know what? That's really unheard of, remarkable. Because, you know, these days, it's so funny how many models I get to meet still, you know, in my life where they're like, oh my God, I would love for you to meet my mother agent. I'm like, what do you mean, like your mother agent? Like, what does that person do for you? Like, oh, they hold my chart. Like, what do you mean they hold your chart? Well, they're the ones who talk to all my agencies. I don't get that one. No, but what do they do? Because you just told me what you just described to me sounds like an assistant. You know, anyone could pick up a phone and call an agency in Paris, Milan, or London, or New York. What Brandon is doing with you guys really doesn't exist. Mother agents don't do that. They really don't. And I love his passion for it. And he's preparing you for something, to embark in an industry that you got to be tough. You know, this is Disneyland right now for you guys. This ain't the tough part yet. Wait till you hit NYC. Wait till you hit Paris. You know, that's when you start, you know, buying boxes of tuna to feed yourself till the money starts coming in, or beating the pavement, we call it, when you have to go on, you know, 10 castings, you know, in a week, you know, from client to client, and getting half of them saying, thank you, go about your business. You know, those are that's when the mental toughness comes to play. A lot of guys don't enjoy that. They get out of it. You guys are young, 21, it's amazing. It's like, you get it started now, trust me, you start doing well in this industry, you could put in 20, 30 years. Some of the greatest male models in history that I know are still doing it. I know guys that I've represented in my career that are in their 50s, late 50s, still making $500,000 a year.
Really?
Or $250 a year. And how they're doing it is really interesting, and this is a trick I'm going to give you right now. When you go to work, don't make that a client. Make that a friend. Create a friendship, create a camaraderie, create a vibe that they are willing to have back. They want you back because they had such a great shoot with you and such a great time. You made everyone feel great. They want you back. I've said this many times. The greatest models in the world, if you study their body of work, it's about 5-6 people that they've worked for 20 years. They bring them back. You look at, you know, a director like a Martin Scorsese. Who does he bring? He brings De Niro, he brings Leo, Joe Pesci, and they make music together. That's what you want to achieve as a model. You don't want a client, you want to create a family. Right. These are people that are going to always call you, and guess what? Whether you're right or wrong for the job, they don't care. They just love you. Oh man, we got to book Sebastian. Why? Because Sebi's cool, man. We want to hang out with Sebi. We're going to be in the Bahamas for 1 week. I don't want to be there with somebody I don't know.
Right.
Just because I casted some model that have a good look. No, let me take my boy that has a good look and is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Create a family. Everyone you meet, create a family that give them what they're gonna want when you're not around. Oh man, come on, fire that person. Bring Sebi, bring Jojo. We have so much fun with them. We create great photos. Big thing for you to keep in your mind.
Yeah, even like when their shoots were done, I'm like, this is what the start of the show is like. Hey, text the photographer and say good morning. Excited for the shoot later on. And then I said after the shoot, I'm like, hey, did you guys message them? You should message them the next day. Say thank you so much for the shoot. Appreciate. Look forward to the photos. Like there's a lot of decorum, that they're learning how to have, because this is what makes them memorable in this business.
I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm sorry I interrupt you, but before the story leaves my head, and I'm not going to drop names, but one of the greatest female models in history. I remember she called me one time and said, hey, Magnus Reed is the photographer, great guy. He's Swedish. And she said, I'm working with your boy tomorrow, and isn't he from is Sweden or Switzerland? He was a bit bummed because I guess the day he was shooting this model was a day he was going to miss in his country, where there's a huge celebration. Everything is white. White flowers, white chocolates, everybody dresses in white. And he showed up to work that next morning. She had the entire studio painted white. She had white flowers everywhere, white chocolates delivered during the shoot. She came dressed all in white. That's a pro.
Right. That's relations.
That's a pro. She did their homework. One of the greatest male models I know, John Pearson. JP will know you. If you're working with JP, he'll know what you're into that day he shows up. He's going to be there, the full day. When the day is over, he's probably going to be packing equipment with the assistants, and hey, what are you guys doing after this? Are we going to dinner? Or we want to go grab a drink? Or create friendships.
Okay.
Not just a client, like, oh, I work with that person. Yeah, once. Did they bring you back? No. So what do you have to say about that? They didn't bring you back. But if you create that camaraderie, you could have a client for a lifetime. So pay attention to things like that.
How would you nowadays take them from being in the United States to break into the fashion markets in Europe, break into London and Milan and Paris, and because I think that's what people are going to want to know. Like, okay, they're fashion models. That's cool. Now, how do you get them from point A to point B and working for all the major fashion labels? What would you advise them and every model that wants to follow in their footsteps for today's world on how to get there?
There's two ways, obviously. It could possibly more, but the Omar way, what I would do is definitely either New York or Europe, not LA. And I live in LA, but I'm sorry, LA, I love my LA. It's just not what it used to be in the 90s. And if I have to choose between New York and Europe, I would say Europe because of the proximity of the markets. It's just that simple. To be that close to Milan, Paris, London, Spain, Greece, Germany, those 6 markets right there, you could create a nice living and a great ability to build a great portfolio. Here goes that word, a great image, and work with incredible people where editorial and imagery still matters. In America, things have diminished a lot. In my opinion, I mean, we don't have the pages of magazines like we had in the 90s. We don't have the GQ pages or the Details magazines or the Esquire magazines or even something as simple as DNR, Daily New Record, which used to come out like on a weekly or monthly, whatever it was. Right. You could create tear sheets. We don't really have. The only magazine that I believe in America that has any kind of relevance as far as editorial, I think Flaunt magazine does an incredible job of hiring great shooters, great master shooters to shoot for them, and he takes chances. But I would say Europe, and I will do it definitely for show season.
Okay.
Best way to break out in Europe, show season. You both have the height, you have the measurements, You go off to Paris, you try out for the shows in Paris, same thing in Milan, same thing in London Fashion Week. And once that kicks in, then you can start establishing yourself in various, proximity markets like Spain, Germany, Greece. Those are all great markets where you could create a good living. And then once all that is put together, then you could just go test your waters in New York City. I mean, New York City is dog eat dog. You got to come ready. You got to bring it.
Okay.
New York is the major leagues. I would suggest definitely show season in Paris, and that's coming up.
Right.
Okay.
So we're looking at end of May, getting over to Paris and start beating the pavement and start seeing people, possibly getting a couple of test shoots by some French photographers that are out there, getting the different flavor into your books. You're both fine. You're going to do fine, especially the looks that you have. You're at a very good advantage right now because Africans took over.
Really? Do you know why specifically Africans? I don't think Africans were like the main thing the whole time.
And I was trying to avoid that question.
I mean, since we're here, we got to get into it.
Oh my goodness, you're hitting me with one of those that I did not want to get into. I have my own ideas. Oh my God, I might get in trouble for this.
That's fine.
You know what? I'm going to go for it. In the past month, I've done 2 postings that I put up on purpose. Not because I was like following the trends or anything. I just wanted to hear people's opinions. And the first one was the top African male models who dominated the runways of Paris and Milan. And I did it again last week. So that's 20. I believe if lucky, 2 of them would have made it through the doors of Omar's Men. If lucky. And if they were with Omar's Men, they would have been known as editorial models. Because I wouldn't know who's going to pay for that. Now, I see this whole thing going on with the African boys, which are phenomenal, by the way. I like the inclusivity aspect of it, that, okay, you open the doors to finally black models. But this ain't even about black models. It's about African models. Because black American boys ain't doing it. Other than Alton Mason, I don't really know what other black guys are killing it in Europe. Forget if you're light-skinned. Ooh, good luck, buddy. Now, here comes my whole thing that I know might get me in trouble, it may not. It is what it is. So I see this plethora of African models being flown in to Milan or Paris or London, for argument's sake, and working, doing the runway shows. Where's the advertising money coming? Because I know that if you're flying a model from Ghana or Nigeria or any place from there to Paris, it's called cost advance. The agency's going to front you that money. So now, in the postings that I'm speaking about, it says, here is such and such who did 2 shows in Paris, 1 in Milan and 1 in London. That's 4 shows, guys. How much money you think he made? I mean, if lucky, keep it real, guys. If lucky, you're getting 1,000. If lucky.
1,000?
If lucky. And I know that's like, it's funny because I talked to Greg about it this morning. Like, if lucky, you're getting 1,000. You're making 1,000, you're like, ooh, yeah, I did good.
Right.
Compared to our days, forget it. 1,000 was like, that's a normal, So let's say you got 4 shows and you got those shows at 1,000 each. That's $4,000 minus 20%. That's 3,200. Now Europe takes more than 20. A lot of companies take 30. Some companies take 40. Some companies take 50. Depends on the tax situation. So now you got 3 G's. How about all the cost advance? You're living in a model apartment. How much is that? A ghetto model apartment rate is what? $50 a day? Which I haven't heard of those in years. You're looking at possibly $180 to $100 a day. So when you work, that money goes right back to the agency. How do you eat? What about transportation? The test shoots. A lot of those test shoots in these days, you got to pay for. This is when I get angry at agents of today's caliber agents that I wish they would align themselves with photo schools. Because there's a lot of photography schools that have great photographers coming out that will shoot for free. I built many Omar's Men via the Art Center School of Design in Pasadena. Some of the greatest photographers in the world came out of there. You know, I do a lot of collaborations now with Santa Monica College. There's about 3 or 4 photographers that I've met out of Santa Monica College that are monsters, monster photographers. So back to this African thing, it's kind of like, okay, let's go with the new trend. Oh yeah, we're inclusion, let's include these. But where's the beauty? Where's the beauty? Let's come on, guys, don't get me angry. That's not a handsome man. He's interested, he's editorial. Handsome black American males are not working. And I know because they call me. I know many great models, African Americans, that they call me up, they're like, oh, what's going on, bro? I'm like, you ain't African enough. It's like, are you serious? Yeah. They want this. Now, you're going to be an interesting one because you actually are a handsome boy.
Appreciate it.
Some of these boys that are coming out, I don't know what. I get it from an editorial standpoint, 100%. Editorially wise, image making wise, yes. My God, I love to do a picture with that look. But how do I translate that look into money? I mean, I don't see that look on the billboards.
Yeah.
So who is pimping who?
That's a whole thing. There's a whole trafficking thing that I have heard that goes on behind those
So,
things.
you know, I just have, and guys, by the way, I'm keeping it PG because I can go real deep into this. I'm not going to celebrate that aspect of the industry. That's, to me, it's like fake inclusion. Because at the end of the, I think it's supposed to be aspirational. I mean, now these boys are clothes hangers, which is cool. I ain't got a problem with you being a clothes hanger. But they're doing 2-3 shows, and what else?
Right. And that's kind of a good point, because that's the whole point behind what I'm doing with them is like, I'm not building models anymore. It's brands. They're becoming brands. And I feel like that's the way forward, is like they have to become brands so that you can't forget about them. It'll be hard to forget about them because the impact they're making on social media is going to cause for them to be aspirational, to invite other brands to want to work with them. But okay, something that he said though that I want to clarify, because it might still feel like there's a gap between information. When he's saying like you got to go to Europe, what that looks like is getting placed in Europe and like connecting with your agents on like building your name out there. So it's taking like everything we did today, for instance, and me setting up meetings and go-sees or Zoom meetings with someone in London, someone in Paris, someone in Spain, getting you placed. And then though it requires that you fly out there, stay there for months on end to develop, work with different photographers there, and give them a chance to send you out to see who is going to be interested in your look. So that's what he means when he says get you to Europe, right? And it also helps though to be connected to people that have connections to those markets. If someone knows someone in Paris, someone knows someone wherever, like being connected is also an advantage, but also social media can help too by exposing you to people that come across your look and like, oh my gosh, this guy is so attractive. Like I want to include him in something. So
before I forget, and I have to give a shout out to the Cabral brothers because I love those two. They're Portuguese brothers. They're African as you could look at, but I think they're phenomenal. But they're great models. They're great models. They create beautiful images. They're incredibly talented, extremely well loved. They've done all the big campaigns out of Europe. And I think a lot of people are base their looks on what they're bringing in now from the African countries. I love to see handsome become part of the modeling world again.
right.
A handsome young man, a handsome boy, as opposed to this inclusion business where it's like, oh, let's give everybody a shot.
Right.
If that's the case, ooh, this opened up the door to my favorite question that I came up with yesterday. When can I put my buddy Tim on the runway? Tim is like 290 pounds of. He told me to do this, by the way, because he called me and say, "Omi, look, the big girls are walking the runway. We're gonna have the big boys."
Yeah.
You go, I have a 1-pack. So that's my question to people out there. If we're gonna do the inclusion thing,
Like,
let's.
where are we gonna stop? Basically, yeah. I know what you
I
mean.
mean, let's
Free for all. Just let anybody up there.
Yeah,
You know.
At this point.
because
you know,
everybody's a model now.
It's funny that you said what you said because I was telling him who Tyson Beckford is, because I'm like, look, you got to know who Tyson Beckford is. These are new models. They're they're not going to come with a whole history of knowing who everybody is. He was discovering who Tyson Beckford was for the first
that's
time,
kinda-
you know?
that's kinda
And I'm
bad.
like telling him, like, this is who Tyson Beckford is. You got to know who he is because you being able to do this is directly as a result of him being able
Oh,
to,
yeah, 100%,
but he
100%.
is what Omar is talking about.
Yeah.
One of the things that he became known for, and I know this because of the documentary that I saw when he told me to go watch, forgot what it was called, but the documentary in Santa Monica, where I learned that Tyson Beckford's come up was Ralph Lauren, right?
Yeah.
Was Ralph Lauren. And he became like a culture phenomenon because he was one of the first black male models to break in and like pave the way forward and basically become a sex icon.
Yep.
And that appeal, the sex appeal, I think is what you're talking about, is kind of missing.
Yeah, there you go. The sex appeal. I don't know if I could say that word, but like a lot of these kids that I'm seeing, they're great. I have no problem. I just don't find them sexy. And as I said earlier, isn't modeling about aspirational and fantasies? I mean, for crying out loud, that's when we got into this industry, we had fantasies. Where's the fantasy level? I mean, come on, you're talking about Tyson Beckford, one of the most insultingly beautiful humans ever created.
That man is beautiful.
That's a beautiful man. That's my boy. I look at some of the Africans from my era, Jaimon Onsu. Jaimon was one of my boys. I mean, you look at Jaimon, it's like, that's a man, You know what? Something really funny dawned on me too lately. Were men more manly in the 90s that are now today?
I was gonna ask, like, when did you think the whole inclusivity disease, I guess, started to really trickle into, like, when it started? Like, is there a date, like the 2010s?
You're very close. I saw the shifting in 2011. One of my dearest friends, my heart, master photographer, Michel Comte. And I remember Michelle, as usual, every time I see someone that I think is, amazing, I'll call Michelle, or of course, a Testino or Bruce Weber, my posse of masters. And Michelle happened to be in LA. And I said, hey, I got this girl. I want you to see her. I want you to do something. He's like, oh, let me call Franca. Let's do something for Italian Vogue. And he took this girl and he shot her. I think he did like about 10 pages for Italian Vogue. All Chanel. Photographs came out. It was a phenomenal story. Nothing happened. Nothing. I mean, her career, the needle didn't even do any of this. It's just... And that's when I start feeling it. I went, whoa. Okay, it's a whole brand new game now. Tear sheets don't really matter. It's remarkable to me, young men like yourself, because you guys listen. And one of the things I'm noticing about the youth today, they don't listen. They listen to ChatGPT. That's about it.
This guy.
I know everything. How do you know everything? Oh, I ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So I know everything because I have ChatGPT. And that's unfortunate.
I would add on to that as well that social media amplified the voices of those who were never represented, in the sense that, like, if you were petite, no one listened to your voice back in the 90s. No one cared about you. But now that you're a petite model with like 100,000 followers and you're speaking into the chamber of conversations like, well, why aren't there more petite models? And then you've now inspired other petite models to feel like they have a place in it. There's different visibility now because of social media, and because of the advent of social media, it opened up for more people to have a voice. And in one way, it is advantageous. Is like I was talking about on the other day when I was talking about the plus size models, and how the United States has more of a plus size in market than Europe does. Is that a good thing? What does that say about our eating habits in the United States? And I was saying, like, in one way, I think that obviously if I'm a business owner and I'm selling products and you're telling me that there's a huge market that's untapped, that's made up of plus size people, of course, okay, yeah, I'm gonna tap into that. Sure, of course, let's find some plus size models. Let's take advantage of that. So in one part, it's culture changes because people have changed. We've become, more accepting and representative of other people. But then it's just business. If you're telling me that transgender people are going to make me a lot more money, which I don't think they are making anybody more money, by the way. But like, let's say that they are. Of course, let's bring them into the campaigns. Let's bring people who are disabled. Let's bring people that are albino or whatever the case. Like, they're always going to look for the thing that's going to make them the most money. But also, they're always going to look for the thing that's going to push the limits on something. They're always going to look for a reaction. And I don't know that that's as much as fashion as it is just any company that wants to seize on marketing and outrage. Balenciaga is a great example of that, where they're always going to try to get a reaction because that reaction produces numbers and it produces visibility and awareness. And so that's why a lot of these, and what we were even talking about earlier, they're gimmicks. It's gimmicks. They don't care about other people.
I like that. Yeah, I think you hit it on the nose. Gimmicks. The gimmicks. I don't know. Me personally, I would feel so bad about myself if someone was using me just because I'm a gimmick. I don't want to be anybody's gimmick, But yeah, if social media gave everyone a voice, and again, it's cool. It's fine.
Right.
But then let's redefine the name model. Let's give it a new name because it's not what it was.
Yeah.
And so who's a model today? How do we define who is a model? Do we have to separate? Like, I am a fashion model.
Right.
I am like some girl asked me yesterday, she said, how about body parts models? I'm like, wow, that's interesting because I haven't heard that since the 70s. Because back in the 70s, there was bookings for hand models.
Right.
Like, this girl, all she does is hand modeling. But there was a market for it. Or I do eyes because she has beautiful eyes. I haven't seen those type of bookings in years, but I think we just have to come up with different names and categories to what type of modeling are we speaking about. But fashion models are fashion models.
Right.
They're not commercial models.
But I also think that's why it's a good idea to come up with a show for this generation that's all model focused, because in order to get to be something that's aspirational, you have to repaint what it's supposed to look like moving forward. Because what show has impacted the culture since America's Next Top Model, which ruined modeling, in my opinion?
Entourage.
Well,
To me, that was like the last of the greatest shows. Like, you ever watch
No,
Entourage?
so, no.
Man, get on it.
Get
It's on
on that.
Netflix right now. I got a group of boys that I hang out with. My little crew. One of them is from Panama. He's an actor, and his roommate, he's a filmmaker. These guys are so cool. They called me up last week. Like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, man, I'm home chilling. They're like, man, why don't you pull up to the house? We're checking out this great show, Entourage. I'm like, oh, no. What happened is they saw me post a picture with Kevin Dillon. Katie's my brother. And they're like, oh, my God, drama? I'm like, KD. It's like, dude, we've been watching Entourage. It's like the greatest show. It was a show that really showed LA, what LA was about. It was really like that the current LA situation. So that's a show I recommend you guys watch because you're going to get hooked. Trust me on that. To me, that was like the last of the great LA show.
right. It was more like a actors LA show because I think the cast was made up of mostly aspiring actors or working actors in LA. But as far as like modeling shows, I know Supermodels was one that's like, was it on Hulu or an Apple with Naomi and all the women?
It's just a four part.
Oh, so it was a limited series.
Yeah,
okay, so that was
just
a limited
4 parts.
series. And then there was just America's Next Top Model. And then before that was like the Janet Dickinson show. But there hasn't really been anything, even though I abhor everything America's Next Top Model was, it definitely created modeling to be an aspirational thing. But I think that's the way that we can kind of take that power back is by controlling the narrative, controlling what that image and what that looks like moving forward. Otherwise, it is what it is. And like, because right now it's kind of just like no one. That's why I've been able to amass such a big following, because everyone's like, "What is a model? Brandon, tell me what a model is. Can I be a model? Like, I'm this, I look like this, and I'm this tall. Can I do it?" And I'm like, "Nope, nope, nope."
Oh,
no.
I got so frustrated, at a casting that, a couple of days ago where, my friend kept coming up to me and say, "Hey, there's somebody that wants to talk to you." So is he online to be casted? He goes, no, he just wants to talk to you. I go, look, I'm going to go on the limb and put it this way. I bet you he's under 6 feet tall. He's definitely not a model. He said, "Oh yeah, he's definitely not a model." I said, "Dude, just tell him to come in now." Ask, And he walked in, and he looked like he was about to go into the club or something. And I was at that point of the night that I'm like, "Hey, if you're gonna talk to me about modeling, bro, I'm gonna tell you right now to your face, it ain't gonna happen. And I never do this, but it's not gonna happen." And so this whole thing about you think that I have a secret key, and it's something that I'm glad I'm doing this with you today. I don't want to cut off my foot, but I want my 90s followers and friends to graduate into the new era. Whenever you make those calls to me about, "Oh my, I just found you your next big model," stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Because what is it that you want me to do? Who do you want me to call? What magazines do you want me to call? So what is it that you want me to do? I could do this, and I could coach you and share my expertise and share my knowledge to make you into a great model. But what can I personally do? The Omar of the 90s, guys, I don't have those tools available. They're not. I'm just keeping it real. As much as I love to keep it a secret, it's not available. I can't call my 10 guys and have you be a big model in a month. I don't. Because none of those guys work anymore. I don't have my magazines anymore. I can't give you 20 pages of Lomo Vogue anymore. It's not there. It's not available. So you have to create your own lane. So social media is the key. And having someone like Brandon who's savvy in social media, he could help you create that. I can't. I'm learning about social media. I'm still learning. I'm rubbish at it. I really are rubbish. But I'm learning every day because I keep an open mind. But to my 90s friends, guys, I got to tell you, I don't know what is it that you want me to do. I could just assess the person and say, "Yeah, I think you got something here," but I'm not signing them to anything. I don't own an agency. I have zero desire to own an agency. If I owned an agency in today's world, can I do it? 100% with my eyes closed. Who do I want as a booker? I want you, that's for sure. I want you 100%. And there's another kid in LA who I love. I'm not going to mention his name because he's a photographer. He travels the world. I want young people who live this 24/7. I don't need you to go to work 9 to 5. If you're a 9 to 5er, I don't want you. I need you to make this a lifestyle. I've always said it. To be a great agent, it has to be a lifestyle. You have to eat, wake up in the morning thinking about this, go to bed thinking about this. And 9 to 5 doesn't work. It's 9 to 9. It's a 24-hour day job. I know I made it that way. My old partner made it that way. My employees that I've had my whole career, we lived this. And some of the greatest things we did were after 5 o'clock. So could I have an agency today? 100%. It's just different mindset I would have for all the bookers.
Right.
You would have to be out there hustling and making things happen, and just don't sit at a desk and rely on casting networks to give you your casting, which that's possibly we need to save that segment for the future, because that's a whole different monster that your generation has to deal with.
But you guys should understand too that everything that is happening with you guys, all of what I've been pouring out to you guys, has come directly from everything that you've taught me and everything that I learned from you in the conversations that we have. Like, it's there's so much value in what Omar brings to the table and what I've learned, from him. And the world is different, but that's why this relationship works, because what I cannot see from the past, he shows me, and what he cannot see for the future, I show him. And that's why you guys are in the best possible situation ever, because you guys have everything covered from the past to the future. And that's why everyone that's watching, like, this is a very special opportunity, because you guys are watching the making of the next top models, and you're seeing, as we even discuss, like, okay, like, what does it look like nowadays? Like, we understand now the key component is social media, but now how do we tap into social media to make them into that, to break these limits, understanding that they already have the look. Okay, cool. A lot of people have the look. They have a great look, love their look. But now how do you take that look and turn it into a brand? How do you take that look and make it so that every single person in the fashion world wants to work with them? Because it's no longer the same world that you were in, where you could just hire or send them to photographers, do an editorial, and they're breaking through. It's a different world. But that's the fun part about this, that, we call this, even when I brought them on and when I introduced them to the whole concept of my plan, welcome to the experiment. This is an experiment, and they're my, what did you call it?
Like patient zero.
Patient zero. They're my patient zeros to see. And then I have something to prove. I have something to prove, because there's so many people that try to question my credibility and what I could do. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just prove to you guys that everything that I'm telling you guys, when it's put into practice, especially by someone like me, it will work. It will work, and you can become a working model. I mean, that's because I even told them, like, look, forget everything about modeling. I want you guys to make money from this, okay? Bear none, like, make money from this. And if it's becoming a top model in the fashion world, awesome. If it means you're just doing a lot of commercial stuff, but you're making money, awesome. Whatever. But, like, the objective here is to make money and at least give yourself the opportunity, at the very minimum, pay off college, save some money, like, realistically setting their expectations, because I don't want them to see this as like, oh my God, you guys are going to be glamorous. You're going to be famous. And, no, I'm going to make them famous.
You said something important from the very beginning, and that's what stuck in my head, and that is...
Today's podcast is brought to you by me, Brandon Andre. If you're a model who wants to become a working model, then you need to enroll in my Model Masterclass today. In my online class, I teach models how to make more money by showing them how to manage their careers as a business. From getting signed, to building a portfolio that gets you jobs, to building an audience on TikTok and Instagram, then monetizing it, to learning how to win the favor from your agents and casting directors, to learning how to brand yourself on social media, and how to lure in brands and brand deals to increase your income as a model. Getting signed doesn't mean you'll get work, but learning how to run a business does. So enroll in my Model Masterclass now by going to my website at brandonandrephoto.com.
I want to make them a brand. We're in a brand-driven industry. And I think it's so much more powerful to be a brand than just a model. A brand carries a lot more weight. I was looking at the listings that they put out every year, twice a year. I don't remember what publication, on the top earners model, females and males. Actually, they only did the females. And I've noticed out of all those girls, all 10 or 15 that they had on that list, they're all brands. I'm looking at their number: 13 million, 20 million, 25 million, 8 million, 5 million. But that's not just in model earnings. They're brands. They have their clothing brand, their lingerie brand, their makeup line, their yoga line, their whatever it is. You guys have something already that I would love to see you guys incorporated into your world, into your marketability, and it's the fact that you guys have an amazing brain. Create your brand with what you have in your brain, what you guys study. I mean, you both study
Computer science.
Computer science.
Twins.
I mean, that's
Synchronized.
heavy. Not much. I don't know that many 21-year-olds that study computer science, and that's the future.
The future model are
And
nerds.
trust me, there is interest in what you guys do, but there's not people that are coming out talking about it, especially as models. So become a model citizen and don't hide that part of your life, because it's such an important, I hate saying it as a tool, but there are clients out there right now in the fashion world that would love to have a computer science client.
Okay.
that they don't have. And here it is. They have the access to you guys as models. So there's ways to incorporate it. And that's where he comes in. He said something so important earlier, and it's true. He respects my world, and I respect his world. From the minute I met him, I was like, oh, I need to get with this kid. He's on another level. I don't understand any of this stuff. Like he didn't understand any of my stuff. Here it is, years later. We dearest friends because we understand each other now. I meet him in the middle. He meets me in the middle. We merge both worlds. And this is what he has created. So you're a very fortunate young man.
Yes, yes.
Honestly, I mean it from the middle of my heart. You're very fortunate that you have someone with big cojones, because he got balls, man. You unapologetically, some of the stuff you post, I go, only Brandon or Greg. You're the only two that I know that will say things that, yeah, come at me. Yeah, come at me. It's okay. Everybody has a voice. I'm going to be giving you my voice, and you do it unapologetically. And I appreciate you for that, man.
Thank you.
I really do. Your authenticity is phenomenal because you just put it out there, and whether you like it or not, it's okay. It's all good, man. You don't have to like me. I'm just giving it to you the way I see it. And I love that about
Thank you.
So
I appreciate you, Omar.
keep it going, little brother.
Okay, so you guys have some questions, so you guys can pull out your questions to ask Omar and just to ask, because you guys represent the next generation, and I'm sure you guys are gonna have the same questions that a lot of people who are watching this podcast episode are gonna have. So feel free to pull up anything that you guys have to ask me and Omar, and go for it.
Well, I wanted to ask first, how was it like when you first started modeling? Because I know you started modeling around the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Like being a black man, even in that time, was a bit, it was a bit like hard. So how was it like dealing with other models and dealing with other agents as being like a dark-skinned black man?
It's a good question. I believe myself and Urs. If you study the history of male models, I actually had Google corrected this. They always said the first black male model on the cover of GQ was Renald White. No, Renald White was the first American black model on the cover of GQ. The first black model on the cover of GQ, his name is Urs. It's a dear friend of mine, one of the most handsome men ever. And I think Urs and I will probably answer this question the same way. I didn't grow up in this country. I didn't grow up in America. I grew up in Latin America, in Panama. In Panama, we don't study Shakespeare. We study Miguel de Cervantes Saavedra. I knew about Evita Perón and Simón Bolívar and General Franco. And so my whole education was not on black history. I never in my entire life in school, living in Latin America, study anything that had to do with black history. I come from a well-to-do family. We did well. My mother worked in the Canal Zone, which she was making an American salary in a third world country. So we all did well. I was a swimmer. I wasn't a basketball player or a football player. So I didn't grow up in an African-American mentality. When I first came to America, I was called the N-word. I didn't even know what the hell you were talking about. So it's like, whatever, dude. I mean, so joining the industry, I never looked at the race part, ever. I'm learning now in my life still how to be a black man. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear this. You're like, oh, you Latinos, you think you're not black. Of course I'm black, you dumb. Hello. It's just I never looked at the world that way. I've always looked at the world as, I look at the heart. It's one love, one heart. We all bleed the same way. So I'm not, the ethnic black thing never was an issue with me. I never felt rejected these are things that didn't compute in my head. So to answer your question about how was it getting into it as a black man, I don't know, because I didn't get into it as a black man. I just got into it as a model.
Okay.
I got chosen by an Italian photographer to move to Italy and walk the runways. I was extremely fortunate that my measurements were the exact measurements of the mannequins. They were made by a company called Golf. And I had the exact measurements, neck, inseam, sleeve, everything was exactly. So I only did 1 season of fittings. I never did fittings again. And I was averaging about 33 shows per season between Milan and Paris at about $350 a show. So different times, worked for some of the greatest designers. So again, the black thing never hit me.
So my question is a little bit about race, but it's more about my ethnicity. So for Hispanic people, right? Living the Hispanic experience of trying to get into the modeling industry, I've noticed that, and maybe you've noticed this, but Latino moms and dads aren't usually super approving of being a model.
Oh boy, stop right there. So when I became a model, I used to fly to New York every weekend just to go to Studio 54 because I was addicted to Studio 54. Studio 54 was not a club to us, it was a lifestyle. So weekends you're free, you go to studio. And I was living la vida loca. I'm having the greatest life. And one weekend, my roommate in Milano was leaving to do a job in Greece. And he said to me, hey, if you drive me to the airport, I'll let you you could keep my car for the weekend. I'm like, heck yeah. So I drove him to the airport. He threw me the keys. Right? I'm not going to mention his name, but trust me, guys, he was the ultimate ladies' man. My neighbor in Panama happens to be boarding a flight that day. She saw me kissing my friend goodbye.
Yeah.
But we're in Italy.
Right.
In Argentina, I believe we kiss each other in Argentina, no?
You guys are Spanish kids?
Yeah. We kiss her. So she went home and told my mom, oh my God, I don't know how to tell you this, but I saw Omar sucking face with some guys at an airport. Bro, my mom flew into to New York. I was in Milan. I find out that my mother's flying to New York. So I'm flying to New York. I want to see my mom. Anyway, I'm going to studio that night. But when I get to my brother's home, my entire family's there. So it was an intervention.
No.
My whole Latino family sitting there. And my mom got these eyes like watery. Oh, papi, please. Papi, tú eres, are you? Am I what? Whoa, wait. Is this what this is about? And like, well, such and such saw you kissing a guy at the airport in Milan. I said, Mom, I kiss about 20 dudes a day. What are you talking about? It's like, that's the way we greet each other. That's the way we say goodbye to each other. I still got friends of mine that I kiss every day of my life. Like, completely macho guys. That's just our way of greeting each other. I mean, I don't know, both of you would probably know this, but when we were kids, I mean, I remember with my best buddy hugging, skipping down the road, and I mean, not holding hands, but we like hug each other. So the homophobic thing was big, obviously I know what you're speaking about. Yeah, Latin parents, ooh, yeah, that's something that, you know how they stop? When they see the money coming in.
Okay, that's...
When they see the success happening and the money coming in, and obviously when they see the lifestyle, whichever way you want to go, believe me, they jump on board.
Okay.
All those things are forgotten because at the end of the day, he's happy and he's making money. Great question.
Thank God I asked that.
Yeah, because I had to deal with it myself.
It's a good story. I haven't heard you tell me that story, so it's a good story.
And the best part was like, okay, so this is what this whole meeting is about? All right, guys, we could wrap this real quick because
Be done.
I need to get to the Bronx to go meet this girl that I'm crazy about, and I need to bring her with me to studio. I've never taken her to studio. I've never taken a girl with me to studio, and this girl is smoking hot. I need to get out of here. So are you guys done with this little charade of yours? Because I got pictures from that reunion. It was literally 15 members of my family
gosh,
there
that's crazy.
that flew in from all over the place. They wanted to know what is this crazy new lifestyle that I have, flying to Europe, and these clothes that you're wearing. Like, what are you? I'm like, what am I wearing? I'm wearing a bloody $2,000 Versace's. I had like these big suede joffers, and I had a big Claude Montana jacket in leather with the big padded shoulders. And
Yeah.
I said, I'm in the fashion business, guys. That's, no one in my family was ever in fashion. My brother was a very sharp dresser, but they weren't in the fashion industry. So that takes care of that question.
Bouncing off that question, in the modeling industry, like the whole gay thing is very, very prevalent. I wanted to know, like, if you've ever really encountered like a creepy photographer or a really homosexual designer that tried to get at you, and like why, and like how did you, stave that, like, stop that and let it be known that, I'm here to be a model, not to be your sex buddy.
I love that. It's a great question.
It's a very specific question.
It's a great question. I always tell people I got a PhD in that one because I learned real quick on my first night at Studio 54. And I remember walking through the crowd with my best friend Ricardo at the time, and it was the first time a man ever put his hands on me and goes, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful." And I turn around, I'm about to knock this fool out. And my buddy grabbed my hand and he's like, "Oh, no, that's not the way to." I'm like, "Dude, he just talked to me like if I was a chick." I learned real fast. And I learned that people are people, to each his own, stay in your lane, let things be known from jump. The first time a man tried to pick up on me, I let him know. I said, first and foremost, I'm flattered that you find me that attractive, but it's just not my thing. I love women. But wait a minute, you're a men's agent. That's why I'm a men's agent, because I love women so much. When I first started as an agent, I was a female agent, but I was choosing girls from a personal point of view. I've always said I give so much respect to hetero males that are female agents. Man, I tip my hat to you guys. I don't know how you do it, because they're all beautiful. They're all sexy. So how do you choose, And after a year of being a female agent, thank God I met Billy Wirth, that one day. And I said, whoa, I could represent guys, hang out with them, go play ball with them, go chase girls with them. I'm like, I want to be a men's agent. This is way more fun than being a female agent. Always be respectful. I've always been respectful. What you do in your personal time with who you do it, none of my business. But I let you know what I'm into.
Right.
But always respectful. I would say some of my greatest friends ever in my life are gay men. And we have an amazing, beautiful relationship. And they've never crossed the line.
And for those of you guys who are watching, because I know inevitably someone is going to get offended by that question, you guys have to understand that when you're a straight man entering into the fashion world, there's a lot of reasonable uncertainty about emerging in this field when everything especially when you grow up in minority communities. It's not rooted in homophobia. It's rooted in like, hey, like I want to enter into this world protecting myself and keeping my mind and heart pure, because there are people, and that's a fact. There are people in this industry that do have predatory behavior against males and females. And it's very healthy to ask questions about how to prevent anyone, whether it's someone that's homosexual, someone that's straight, whatever. It's really not about that specific thing, but it's about people that are led by their sexual impulses, and how to protect and guard yourself from people that will weaponize their sexual impulses against you in this industry. And, obviously males are less threatened by females that will weaponize their sexuality than they are about men to do it. So I just want you guys to understand that these are real questions that guys are having behind the scenes. And while they might sound homophobic or, however you want to process it, this is what guys think about all the time. Okay. And it's better that everybody is clear about that. So it's healthy for us to have conversations. And so, I think it's a good question for you to ask, but I wanted to clarify that because I know people are going to probably think, that's homophobic.
Never be like, I'm not, like Mr. Macho Man. Oh, no, that stuff is no. People are people, man. You just go with the vibe, and you go with what you feel. You're not feeling it, you let them know, hey, it's not my thing, I'm not feeling it, and let's keep it moving. And you could create incredible camaraderies with some of the greatest artists of the century. Just being yourself. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do.
Right.
Right.
You guys will learn to, like, I mean, you guys have learned, like, you know, you enter into a room and you dominate it. You dominate the space and you mean business, and people are not going to, they don't take advantage. Anyone who's a predator does not take advantage of someone that is very confident, secure, and has a heightened awareness of oneself. They only take advantage of people that are desperate, impulsive, and timid. And if you don't carry that attitude, if you don't carry that, you will dominate every room you go in, and people will treat you with respect.
Yeah.
And that's been my experience.
Yeah. So my last question, I noticed that whenever you talk about someone that was in the industry, whoever you met, you know them by name and you know a story about them, but you also need to maintain those connections. Like, they probably remember you in the same way. What's your biggest advice to someone, maybe someone who's introverted, or maybe someone who just doesn't have the experience with maintaining those relationships? Once you wrapped up the photo shoot, once you did everything with them, you know, maybe you took them out to lunch, how do you maintain that relationship?
Earlier, I spoke to you boys and I said, when you show up at a booking, don't go to work as, oh, I'm going to work with this client. Go to work with someone that you want to create a lifetime with. So let your presence be felt. The only way I believe you can make your presence be felt is, what are you adding to that person's life? With me, it's always about addition, not subtraction. The more I add to your life, the more I believe I can stay in your life.
Okay.
In different periods of your life. I'm going to a movie opening Monday from a model I represented in 1985. I haven't seen him since 1987. He still remembers me. He remembers the advices I gave him back in 1985. He goes, oh my, it's me, Rafa. Remember Rafa, the sweet? I'm like, no way, Rafa. Be impactful. Own the room.
Mm-hmm.
You can't walk into a casting with your eyes down. Be confident. Fill the room, like he says. Let them feel your pain, your presence. Be present. And I give you a trick that I learned from one of my greatest models, Carl Usen. We call him the horse. He had many names: a horse, turtle, Dorda.
Turtle.
And Carl would go, he was one of a kind. Well, number one, he had the book power to be that cocky. His book was ridiculous. Every major master he had worked for, but he was so full of life. He's still alive. And Carl will show up at booking sometimes to go to a casting. Hey, what's going on? Hey, so what day you guys need me? Excuse me, Leah, what days you guys need me? I got to see if I'm around. And they were like, well, we're just meeting you for the first time. But then they'll look at the book and they're like, oh, okay, he's the real deal. But another thing that he used to do, and I've always told my models this, try to establish a conversation, a meaningful conversation, something that means something.
Okay.
You know, you walk in. You notice when I walked in here, I went, whoa, this is impressive. You, as the owner of the studio, you're going to answer, oh, thank you. Then it's up to you to continue the conversation like, wow, pretty interesting furniture you have here. I love this, or I love that. Yes, it happens to be my personality, but I'm also trying to see what you're into. To see if what I'm into could fit into what you're into. Then I could create a camaraderie.
So don't just be there, but also be present and think about the other person that you're working with.
It's about them. It's not about you.
Right.
You understand? You're there for something they got.
Yeah.
Okay? They're going to hire you. So what are you bringing to the table that's going to make me want you? I mean, you're a good looking guy and you have a great book. So I have a problem with people who I meet sometimes and they go like, oh, you don't remember me? Well, you actually didn't make an impact in my life for me to remember you. Well, I know I didn't make love to you because I'm not straight. So I know we never had an intimate moment, and you probably never made me money because I remember everybody who made me money. So, bro, why should I remember you? Like, oh, I played play basketball with you, like back in the points in the Fairfax days. Well, that was 30 years ago, bro, and probably you weren't that impactful because I don't even remember your game. Give me something to remember you. Why should I remember you? Give me a reason to remember you. So make a present. Make your presence be felt. You don't want to be overwhelming. You want to be intelligent. Dude, you guys are, I mean, come on, man. You guys are like brainiacs. You got so much to offer most people that are going to be casting you. They're just in the beauty business. We're just picking pretty ass people. You got so much more to our computer science. Are you kidding me? I mean, you guys know stuff that half the population have no clue, including me. I still don't know how to work my computer. Okay? I'm still learning how to use my bloody Android. So make your presence be felt.
Okay, in modeling, a lot of times people get really hot, and then flash out. How do you avoid that besides the obvious drugs? And like, what are the unknown pitfalls that people fall into?
I could answer in two parts, but the first part, you answered it yourself. Drugs,
Okay.
alcohol, and that lifestyle. There's a model, actually, I don't want to say his name. I saw it happen, and he was huge for like 3 years. And I remember when I first started seeing his work, I went, oh, he's one of those crash and burn. He's going to get all the way to the top, and because he was living la vida loca while he was doing it. Then the second part, besides from the drugs, the alcohol, the partying, is when you start, like the song says, don't believe the hype. That's when you start believing your own hype. You too cool for school. And you think. That's the worst one. When you think everything revolves around you. There's a big model. Again, I'm not going to get into names. He's been trying to make a comeback for a minute right now. And I remember the days when this guy was, if you weren't talking to him over 50 grand, he don't want to show up. And you were making all this money. And he was an asshole. But here it is, 30 years later, you broke. You're trying to make a comeback. Boy, you don't look like that guy of 30 years ago. And a lot of people don't want to open the doors to you, because he came to me and he asked me, he said, if there's somebody that could do a comeback for me, it's you. I want you to, let's have a meeting. Man, it took me 2 days of making calls, and people like, hell no. Keep him away from me. He was an a-hole. He walked off my set. He never showed up, or he showed up 3 hours late, or he was an asshole, like, okay, well, when are we done with this? Like, okay, can you get the picture already, man? We've been here for 2 hours. Like, whoa. So, yeah, that's part of the crash and burn, is when you start believing your own hype, and that, or this can't happen without me. Now, everybody's replaceable, other than your mom and dad. I mean, everybody's replaceable.
What does a casting call look like in Europe and Milan? Like those big ones. Like, what is the practical? Like, what does that look like? What's the day to life like?
Fun.
Ooh, amazing. Okay. All right.
It's
an amazing answer.
God, yeah.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
I mean, come on, man. I get it, the whole cattle call thing. But in Europe, it's another level, man. Because, you're not just standing on a line or, at a casting call with like 10, 15 people. You got sometimes up to 80 people there from all different nationalities, all over the world. The relationships that you create during casting calls, oh my God, in Europe is so much fun. It really is. And listen, if a job is yours, it's yours. No matter if they cast 100 people, you show up. If the job is yours, it's yours. So the casting calls, I've always found those to be the most funnest time, going and castings, meeting new people, the amount of cool dudes that you meet that you become great friends with, the amount of hot chicks that you meet, that are trying to pick up on you, or you're trying to pick up. It's so much fun, the casting process in Europe. I recommend it 100%.
I told them to prepare for it too, because the other thing about castings that they'll experience is that everyone is good looking, so it's humbling too.
Yeah, very humbling. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, that that's when you, as I said, check your ego, leave your ego at at your door. Don't. It's not about ego, because he's as good looking as you are, and he's as good looking as you. Just gotta, like I said, when you show up there, you show up like, oh, I got this.
Okay.
Screw you. I don't care. I'm getting this. I got the photos, I got the height, I got the looks. I'm getting this. That's the attitude you always got to have. And always improving your work. That's something that keeps me motivated and enthusiastic about this industry, and sharing my knowledge, is telling young people how to improve their caliber of work. Like, compose an image. One of the greatest masters in photography, I always used to, comment on his photos, and I would say, oh my God, this is such a beautiful image. And he said, Omar, would you stop saying that to me? Say, I don't make image, I compose images. Then it dawned on me, I said, oh, you're right. Sebastian Bach, Mozart, Beethoven, Pharrell, some of the greatest producers, Quincy Jones, they compose a symphony, they compose a beat, they compose a song. Same thing with photographers. So composing an image is way different than just a picture, which is 90% of what you see on Instagram. You just see pictures.
Right.
Who took that picture? Oh, my friend. There's no way in hell in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s you could walk into a model agency with pictures that your friend took. No one would see you. Who took these pictures? Oh, my friend. Thank you. As a matter of fact, we used to have drop-off book policies. Drop your book in the morning, come pick it up at night. You never even got to see an agent.
Oh,
Because
wow.
we don't even want to see you. You just look at the pictures. Oh, another one. Your skills as a model, there are skills. I have male models that I've represented in my career. I took one of my old male models' book to my chat yesterday. I did a chat at Santa Monica College yesterday, and I took one of my old models' book because I'm so proud of the body of work that he created. Like, every photo looks like a movie. Like, look at the characters that he played, from a movie star to a biker to a gambler. He has an editorial that he shot in Vegas where he played like a sleazy gambler. Or, his Lawrence of Arabia editorial all in linens and turbans, and, his punk rock story that he shot in the, sleazy streets in New York City on Bleecker Street, playing like a rocker, with, safety pins. And they're all, incredible compositions. They're not just, it's like, that's boring.
Which is, by the way, what you're boring me. You're boring me.
Yeah,
Move.
Yeah.
More dynamic.
Give me
means,
something.
Okay.
Last but not least, you're only going to get what you give the camera. The camera is going to capture that moment. So give me a moment. Because if you're not giving me a moment, I'm going to shoot. It's going to be the same photo over and over. Don't matter your level of beauty. It's going to be the same photo. So let your photos speak. Let your photos be the reason why they want to bring you in. Because your photos will travel way more than you do.
Yeah.
So people will see your photos and go, oh, he looks pretty interesting. Whoa, look at the variety of looks. I like him. You might even get lucky and get a film from it. Because they might say, wait a minute. He could play this character in this film because look at these photos. So let people's imagination grow as opposed to just looking at your beauty. Whenever I see pictures of a lot of beauty shots of a guy, it turns me off. Because I'm like, oh, he's all up in his own ego. Look at me. I'm sexy. I'm beautiful. I hate those kind of pictures. Show me something. Show me character. Let me see this. Let's see these lines. Let's see your gimmicks. Let me see you move your hands.
Sounds familiar.
That sound a little familiar because
Exactly.
I kind of fall, yeah.
Make it happen.
Okay, guys. Thank you. for asking your questions. I'm glad that you guys are good listeners, and everyone watching, you guys need to pay attention because this is why they're computer scientists, because they listen well and they learn. As you can see, aren't they good? Weren't they good picks? Not even just for like their face, but just for their character.
Great character, great aura. That's it. The minute I walked in and I saw them, I felt the vibe.
Yeah.
And him being from Ghana, him, hermanito argentino, I'm like, okay, it's on.
Yeah.
It's easy with me. It doesn't take, I hate when people like, you hear this one a lot. Like, they're interested in me and they're going to get back to me. I always look at things from the dating aspect. I mean, you see somebody that's attractive and you want to date them. Do you really need a couple of days to think about it? You see them, you go, whoa. I don't know why this procrastination that happens in agencies where they say, they saw me and they'll get back to me. Oh, no, the latest I've been hearing is, let me run it by the team. I never had that. We always, whoever said this is it, we're going to support you. If one of my bookers said like, I really like this guy. I know he's not, but let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So that's something that I've always had a problem with today's agents about. Let me think. What is there to think about? Right. Look at the person. You like what you see. Go to work. Make it happen.
Right.
That's simple.
All right, guys. Good job asking the right questions. Omi, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Much love for you and the time that you always give to help share your knowledge with everybody. And, I'm glad that they had a chance to meet you and to pay respects to legacy, because that's what you are, a legend in this world. That wraps up today's episode, you guys. Give you guys a hand of applause. Your first podcast. There you go. Your first podcast. There you go.
We shall dance again.
Thanks for listening to today's show, and don't forget to hit that follow button to be in the loop when a new episode drops. Be sure to check out my model masterclass by visiting my website, brandonandrephoto.com, or by clicking the link in my bio on Instagram @thebrandonandre.